Hello and welcome back to the non-league Nothing Atter for what is our last one of the year. As we do these weekly, we won't get another one in 2023. Um, so we thought, well, although it's not the end of the season, it is the end of the year, so why not do a bit of a review of our 2023 between us? So that is what we're going to do a little bit later on. But as always, we're going to kick off with match reports from the weekend and week. 3 games this week. 2 for myself, 1 for Andrew. So it makes sense to sandwich Andrew in the middle of mine here rather than me talking for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So both of your game was Saturday, weren't it?
Mine was Saturday, yes.
Yeah, very cool. So we were both at the game Saturday. I, as I am most weeks, was with Tividale. This time away at Atherstone Town. Somewhat of a big game. We haven't played in the league prior to that for probably 6 weeks or so, probably mid-October. No, hadn't we? Who did we play the week before? Played Ashley the week before, didn't we? So no, we hadn't played in the league for a while. So we were getting dangerously close to the drop zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Atherstone weren't that far above us, so it was a bit of a relegation fight. Not too early to start that now. So a big game for both teams looking to push on in the league. Obviously to be out of the bar, so now they can concentrate more so on the league. So yeah, that's what we did. Atherstone. Very quick start. Atherstone 1-0 up inside the second minute. They got a throw in on the left. Their left, Tividale's right. The defence switched off. It was a quick throw in. Managed to recover to put it behind from the corner. For a corner, and then defence switched off again from the corner. And essentially the ball bounced back around in the box. And Stu said this yesterday, and I was under the same opinion when I saw it on Saturday. I was like, I don't know if it was a good finish or look, because he had his back to goal, and I don't know if he just stuck his leg out and it hit him, or he's actually intentionally backheeled it, but it flew into the top corner.
Oh, dear.
So, yeah, immediately we are chatting again. Away to a team who, like I say, although they're down there, they get good crowds. It's 250 there Saturday, and they get behind the team. So, not the easiest of tasks in front of us.
No.
But fair play to the lads. The response was good. Couple of chances in behind, nothing that really troubled the goalkeeper. Couple of big decisions from the referee, which we'll move on to and discuss a little bit later.
Yeah.
But yeah, we looked to be getting back into it. Just needed to find that goal to get on level terms, and then I couldn't quite see it from where I was. I was up the other end of the pitch, but something happened and our defence switched off again, or made an error, and Atherstone are in behind down the wide right. Gets pulled back to the end area, and there's a shot fired into the bottom corner. Lewis had absolutely no chance, and Atherstone are 2-0 up. So, yeah. As it looked like we were about to get back into it, we've thrown it away, essentially. Switched off and 2 down. Couple of minutes late, it wasn't long after, a couple of minutes, Tyler Townsend going forward for us is brought down on the left. Just outside the box. And I will say, all fairness with this, although we've got something going on in a bit later, it was the correct decision. It was just outside the box. I felt a little bit sorry for the defender in that situation because the referee has booked him, but that end of the pitch was very heavy, and because it was only about 5 yards in front of us, it looked to us as though he slipped. lost his
Yeah.
footing and slipped. It's a foul. It is a foul, but it's one of those. He didn't mean it, and it did look like a slip, in all honesty. But anyway, from that free kick, Ryan Snape stands over it, as he often does for Tividale nowadays. Not quite got the angle to shoot. You have seen people shoot from there, and he probably could have. But what he did was probably a cross-country shot, in all honesty. He's whipped it around the wall
Yeah.
into the 6-yard box in that area where if it gets a nick off anyone, it's probably going to fly in. And if it had gone in, he'd say, "Oh yeah, I meant it," but it's probably across. But it's gone through. It's gone past a couple of bodies, so obviously the keeper can't react until it's gone past those. It's bounced in front of the keeper. It's not easy for him, so all he's done is just patted it down essentially because there's not much else he can do. Fell to the feet of Zach Goriani, who put it into the roof of the net from more or less on the goal line. If he'd been any further back, I think he would have missed.
I've seen him miss from that close before.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it was one of those where it's happened that quick and it's landed in front of him. He's just reacted to get anything to it. So it's kind of hit him and he's just threw something at it rather than him actually knowing what he's doing. That's what it looked like to us anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't matter how it goes in. It went in 2-1. Came on. It was a little bit of an odd one because it was oddly quiet when it went in because he looks offside, but then we're thinking, well, it can't be because he wasn't when the ball was kicked because we were level with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, everybody's stopped, everybody's looked at the liner, and then about it's a good 3 seconds before anybody's cheered or celebrated or anything. It was just one of those. But yeah, game on. And then it becomes a bit of a nothing game. Both teams pushing, but poor in the final third. Both teams. Then there's a ball played from the Atherstone right back into the hole for the forward to chase winger, whatever position he was playing. He gets down the wide right. It's the ball across. It's across. He actually says, "Oh bollocks," because he's missed it, and it loops over Lewis into the back of the net, 3-1.
God, right.
Yeah, absolutely nothing Lewis can do about it. The Atherstone, like I say, from the Atherstone player, there's no way he meant it because he said, "Oh bollocks," as he did it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those. You can't take the credit for it. You can't give anyone any blame for it. It is what it is. But that puts Atherstone 3-1 up, and that was 2 minutes into stoppage time in the first half. So yeah, that's how we went in at the break. Second half, not really much to report on. Just a poor game. In all honesty, it was a poor game. Couple of moments to note. If that's what I'll say, there was chances, just none for Tividale. There was one, I think, which Brian Snape created himself. But the effort was just tame, and I wouldn't say it's a poor effort. It wasn't a poor effort because the effort he put into getting that situation was, I think he just ran out of energy by the time it came to get the shot away.
Yeah.
But if Atherstone could finish, it would have been 5 or 6-1.
Right.
Yeah, Lewis has pulled off another couple of good saves as he does most games. They've had a couple. They've had one cleared off the line. They've missed an open goal from a couple of yards out. And as we went into stoppage time, this one passage of play summed up the whole game. We either had a corner or a throw-in. It's been cleared out. Obviously, we're chasing the game, so we threw everybody forward pretty much. Bar one player, and the ball's been cleared away. Tividale player, whoever it was, I can't remember, knows Tividale are in trouble because there's about 5 Aston players and 2 Tividale players. So he fouls the Aston player, which isn't a bad foul to take in terms of Tividale point of view. Right in front of the referee, and he doesn't give it.
Oh,
So the Tividale's last man then comes and picks up the ball, so there's nobody behind him. His pass is intercepted, but he's about 10, 15 yards into Atherstone's half. So you've got 4 players who are behind the defence and onside because they're in their own half. So we've got the misfell, the misplaced pass from TV to Atherstone. So Atherstone have played in their forwards, and like I say, at this point there is probably 3 or 4 attackers with just Lewis in front of him. So obviously Lewis has done what he can, stood up. They've taken the ball around him. I think he may have actually blocked the first shot or forced the pass or something. Either way, the first shot doesn't end up going in. By this point, the Tividale players are coming back, but they're still not quite in the right position to do anything about it. But Atherstone somehow managed to put the ball over the goal. It was just one of those. We were standing next to a couple of Atherstone fans, and all of us just looked at each other and burst out laughing. And it just summed up the game. It was poor.
yeah. So did
From
the
that,
heavy conditions make it poor, do you think? Was that a big part of it?
the first half, I think the end that Atherstone defended first half and then Tividale defended second half, I would say that was difficult to defend. It was very heavy.
Mhm.
But the second half, because we moved up to the other end, obviously, as you do, you change ends as the fans change
Yeah.
ends as well as the teams.
Yeah.
It was it was pretty decent at that end, so I would say potentially that end was difficult to defend.
Mhm.
So yeah, probably difficult to play football in that half as well. But the other half of the pitch, no,
Right.
you can play football. I think it was just a poor game, lack of effort, everything. Well, I wouldn't say lack of effort from Atherstone. Lack of effort from Tividale. Atherstone will tell you it was a good game in terms of the result, but if anybody, I think, realistically, if they sat back and looked away from it, the fans are going to say it's good, but I would say management and what else would say it wasn't a great game. We were just the best of the bad 2 on the day.
Mhm.
They did want it more than Tividale, which is fair enough, and that showed in the result.
Yeah.
Second half was probably poor in terms of Atherstone controlled the game, so they didn't really need to do much. So yeah, but yeah.
Mm.
So on the back of that, it really put Tividale in the shit with the result because the team currently occupying the second of the 2 relegation spots, won. So that put them 1 point behind us,
Oh, right. Yeah.
and obviously Atherstone winning moved them up a bit.
Yeah.
So we put 6 points then between us and the next team above us, which I believe was Northwich Victoria.
Right.
It would only have been 5 because it would have been Whitchurch, but Whitchurch beat Northwich, so that didn't help either.
So results going against you as well. So it's going to be a
Yeah,
tricky
so
second half of the season. Need to pull it together quickly.
so was it Tividale? We're not happy and feeling merry going into Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I'll let you crack on.
So where I went on Saturday was to Buckingham.
Yep.
So we are in step 6 on this one in the Spartan South Midlands Division 1. Buckingham are playing Winslow, so it's a local derby. There's only a few miles between Buckingham and Winslow. At the start of the match, Buckingham were 12th, Winslow 7th, so not that far away in the league either. So turns up there, parks the car halfway up a hill, because you couldn't get into the car park, it was already full. Clubhouse is outside the turnstiles there. So,
Okay.
but there is a tea hut available next to the main stand inside as well, so you got that as well. So one side of the ground is fenced, obviously, but it backs onto the towpath along the river. So if you really don't want to pay for the match, you can go and sit on a bench by the river and watch the match from there quite easily. But anyway, I'd recommend going in because it helps the club out. So I
Yeah.
did go in. It cost me £5, including the programme.
Well, that's not
I
bad.
thought I'd been judged as an OAP again, judging by the prizes, but it seems that they had bit of a shortage of pound coins, so they decided rather than messing about, they were just charging a flat £5 to everybody. So fair enough. That's quite
Yeah.
nice. £5. Tea was only £1 a piece, so I think I spent a grand total of £7 all day. So that was good.
Fair enough.
Very nice and cheap. I like it.
Yeah.
So the game, right? Okay. So Buckingham Winslow. There's always goals in this fixture, apparently. And Saturday was no exception. We got to a flying start, 5 minutes. Buckingham have a free kick right on the edge of the 18-yard box, just inside the D at the top of the box. He swings it low past the wall into the bottom left corner, 1-0 to Buckingham. There we go. 5 minutes in, and we're already 1-0. So that's a good start. 2 minutes later, another quick Buckingham break. Shot from 20 yards out, under the keeper, but the defender gets back and clears off the line. Reason the defender had time to get back, because like your match, we had a very heavy pitch. And the ball, if it was played on the ground, was slow. 10 minutes and Winslow are getting into the game. They have a slow build-up, ends with a weak shot into the keeper's arms. And then we're just coming up for the quarter hour. Buckingham have good build-up play, beating the offside down the left, into the box. Keeper comes to meet. The striker waits for him to commit and calmly slots it past him. So it was, it's 2-0 to Buckingham inside the quarter hour. So off to an absolute flying start they are, and I'm thinking, good goals, it's good, well done. 20 minutes, Winslow are having a few attacks, not coming to much so far. 25 minutes, and there's a foul on the edge of the box, just inside the box, and Winslow are given a penalty. Now, remember last week I mentioned Darren and his vlog on YouTube, _71. Watch it. He was in this game as well. He played this one back. It was a dive. It was a clear dive, but it was a clear dive on a slow motion replay. He said, fair enough to the ref. At full speed, it looked like a foul. It would have been given as a penalty by just about any referee. So that was scored 2-1. Winslow are back in it. Or so they thought.
I would have said at full speed it was a dive. When I was watching it the first time before he slowed down, I'm like, that looks like a dive to me.
Yeah. But from where the ref was, you can understand why he gave it.
Oh yeah, so. you can see why he's giving it. Yeah, but yeah.
But 34 minutes, Buckingham have a long throw. They had quite a few long throws thrown into the penalty spot. Now this was a goal and a half. So thrown in from the touchline, right over the penalty spot, headed out by a defender to the edge of the area, at which point it was volleyed, right foot volley, across the goal into the top left corner of the goal. It was an absolute worldie. It really was. That sort of goal would grace any Premier League stadium. It was that good. So you do get these moments in non-league, and that was one of them. I will give a shout out to the scorer for that one because he deserves his name being mentioned, if I can actually pronounce it. Nikolai Rushev was the scorer of that goal. 3-1 to Buckingham. As I said earlier, the ground was very heavy and sticky, and keeping it on the ground was tricky. It was slow on the ground, but Winslow hadn't given up. They cross in 40 minutes. They cross in for the right, volleyed at the penalty spot, and goalie beats it away. It was a good save, and they go in half time 3-1 up to Buckingham. So 3-1 up for Buckingham. Good half of football. 4 goals in a half. Thinking good. That's it. Worth coming out for if nothing else happens. Well, nothing else didn't happen. Lots of stuff happened. So the second half, we're only 8 minutes old, and Winslow got their second penalty. This one, I didn't see the incident, but I think this was a bit more clear-cut than the first one. And again, it was scored into the bottom left, though it was 3-2. 57 minutes, Winslow have a couple of corners. The second one was far post in-swinger and headed just wide, that one, so it could have been on level terms. They weren't. 60 minutes, Winslow still pressing, crossing for the left, met the penalty spot with a volley, and that one cracked against the bar. So, and then against the runner play at that point, Buckingham, and I'll read exactly what I've written in my notes for this. 63 minutes, Buckingham goal, 4-2. I missed it. I don't know what I was doing. I think I was looking at my phone because I was just taking some pictures of the sunset at the time, and I took a picture of the sunset just as I went and scored down the other end. So I missed it. Anyway, 4-2 to Buckingham. Only a couple of minutes later, a long ball forward wins from Winslow to the edge of the area. Buckingham keeper comes out and gets her at the same time as the Winslow player. The ball rolls free, and another Winslow player slams it home. 4-3. And then Winslow carry on, lots and lots of pressure in the Buckingham box, and somehow they manage to, through lots of pinball type play, manage to keep it out. 80 minutes, Winslow corner, right over the box, flicked back in and headed just over. And Winslow really going for it. It's 4-3 to Buckingham at this point. We're into injury time. 3 minutes into injury time. Oh, I'm just going to move that. Winslow curls a corner in from the left-hand side of the goal. Curls it in. It's coming in just under the crossbar. The keeper gets a hand to it. It's a very weak hand, and the ball carries on through his hand into the goal. So basically a goal straight from the corner, and it is 4-4. So Buckingham win the first half 3-1, Winslow win the second half 3-1, and they go in all square at the end 4-4. Great game. About 160 people there, so good crowd. Really good atmosphere. Local derby. Great entertainment.
Yeah.
Great game.
Yeah, and that's what
So that was my
all about.
Saturday afternoon. And like I say, if you want to see it, go to Dash 71 on YouTube because he's got all the highlights on there.
Yeah, and it is a good watch as well. To be fair, like I said, there's endless goals, loads of entertainment. That controversial penalty,
Yeah.
the not the controversial penalty, that finish from Nikolai,
Mm-hmm.
that is one of the best finishes I've seen for a long time.
Yeah, and it was good he caught it on video because it deserved to be on video because that's one he'll want to keep for a long time. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, if you can go and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that moves us back on to me, I suppose.
Yeah. Boxing Day game, was it?
It was a Boxing Day game. Last season, if you'd asked me, we were on a little bit. Boxing Day, so yesterday, as we record this, Tividale were at home to Wolverhampton Casuals. Now, if you'd asked me about this fixture last season, it was probably what I circled as our must-win game last season.
Right.
Due to circumstances with who the chairman was last season and things that happened between myself and him and social media and other stuff. And yeah, but this season he's moved on. So it's just another game to us, although it's still somewhat of a derby. And they are still one of those teams that are around us, so it is still
an important game, but not quite as much on it. Yeah.
And following the results of the weekend, including our own, it did become a must-win game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not a must-win game, but in terms of mentality and in terms of feeling around the club, it was a must-win game. So yeah, a lot of rain forecast on Christmas Day. So we were a bit worried. Woke up to a lovely message from Leon in the morning, saying, "Looks like we missed most of the downpour that was forecast. No inspection required. Game on." I was like, "Yes."
Excellent.
So yeah, the game was on. Quick start again. Both teams. Tividale probably created the first chance. Probably should have scored. It crossed into the box. Bit of time, bit of space, but the shot was straight at the keeper. Tividale were applying most of the pressure. Cassie looked like they were trying to play in the counter. Which they were doing. Got him behind a couple of times. And I think it was 5 minutes, something around that mark. They thought they'd beaten the offside trap. And they actually slid the ball under Lewis and had the ball on the back of the net, but the linesman flag was up. Now, it was tight. Let's just say it was tight. I personally, from where I wasn't on the side of the pitch, I was at the end of the pitch, thought he was off slightly, not a lot, but like I say, I wasn't level. There was people down the side who were not impressed with the decision, so I don't know, but like I say, it was tight.
Mhm. Yeah,
But yeah, it's at this point it's still 0-0.
yeah,
And that's pretty much what it becomes, a bit of a 2-hour pressing, Wolves casuals counter, and a bit of
right.
a battle, as it usually is against casuals, as to the physical side, but also good. They can play football if they want to. There was a very, very good chance from casuals about 25 minutes in. They were awarded a very soft free kick out wide. The free kick's played into the box. There's a bit of 6-yard box pinball, and eventually it just falls into the hands of Lewis. um,
Mhm.
it's one of those, you're watching it bounce around, you think, oh no, don't fall to one of them, don't fall to one of them, because you know for a fact if it falls to one of them, it's just going to get hammered into the back of the net because of how close it is.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden Lewis has got it in his hands, you're like, yes. Um, and then came that time of the first half when I start doing what I need to do in terms of getting rid of the programmes out of the way, pushing everything up, and walking around, turning the floodlights on, as we have to now do them individually one by one. That takes about 10 minutes. Walking around all the outside of the pitch because I can't walk across the pitch while the game's on, unfortunately. Um,
It's mean of
so,
him not letting you do that.
yeah, I know. So I was watching it, but I wasn't really concentrating.
Yeah.
Um, there wasn't really anything of note that really happened in the rest of the half, other than there was a couple of bookings, which again will become more relevant in the second half. So yeah, went to the right 0-0.
Mhm.
It wasn't a terrible game. It's like I said in the past, 0-0 at half time. It's been like, I think it was actually the other week, and I said it's the worst half of football I've seen for a long time.
Mhm.
It wasn't a bad half of football to watch. It was just not a lot was happening that was worth noting.
Right.
Uh, so the second half begins. I'll probably see the first 10 minutes or so, and then again, not really anything. Tividale on top, but not really creating much. As is still looking for that counter against themselves, not creating much. Then my bladder pipes up. Oi, remember me? So I toddle off to the toilet, come back, ask Paul who I'm with for guessing I haven't missed much, I've not heard anything. He went, oh yeah, both teams are the player sent off. I was like, what? um, both were second yellows, which is why I said that became relevant.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't seen them, so I can't comment on them. The casuals one, I heard it was a bad tackle. Didn't see it, so like I can't comment. Tividale's one was right in the far corner to where we stand, so everybody's like, we can't really see it. But speaking to Cody, who got sent off, I didn't speak to him personally, but Paul did, who was there as he walked off, said Cody said he didn't touch him, which 9 times out of 10 the player says that. But
Mhm.
in all honesty, the Tividale players, when they're talking to us, yeah, I deserved it. So it could have been harsh from the sound of it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, so a couple of changes made by Tividale. Jack Till comes on, newish signing from Highgate. Had a poor game on Saturday, and he'd admit that, but he's not had many minutes. So I think Stu took the decision this week to start him on the bench and putting him onto the end rather than start him and see
Mhm.
how far he can get.
Yeah.
And that decision paid off. His work rate was up there. He chased a lot. He had an opportunity himself where the ball was whipped across. He should have got some on it, but he said himself because I didn't. He said, "I'm not going to lie to you," because I was caught flat-footed. So yeah, if he'd been a little bit more alive and alert to that, but then that comes back to lack of match fitness. match
Yeah.
awareness. If he'd been playing more regularly at Highgate, he probably would have been more alert to the situation and more alive to it. But yeah, 100%. Can't fault his work rate. His effort was a lot better than Saturday. Well, I'm not going to fault his effort from Saturday because it probably was
hmm
the best he could have done in that moment, given he hadn't played for a long time. But yeah, so Tividale kind of stepped up a little bit. Again, we weren't creating too much. Then a ball is whipped in from the left, played into the left, going towards the back of the penalty spot, like the edge of the D kind of area. Ron Snape hits the deck and the referee points to the spot. So Tividale get themselves a penalty. Snape picks the ball up. Jack Till's over there talking to him, and as you can hear Stu, the manager, go, Tilly, move away. But Jack wasn't trying to take it from him. He was just talking to him, asking if he wanted it, because obviously a lot of players, if they win the penalty, don't want to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was just a conversation of, do you want it, given that you've won it?
Yeah.
But Snapper being a player, he was like, yeah, I'll have it. He's a very, very good player. I think he's 18, maybe 19. But the confidence he's got and on the ball, off the ball, I think there's no doubt he was never going to take it, I don't think.
Right.
But yeah, I wasn't quite behind the goal. I was a bit further over. It was a good penalty in terms of he hit it high-ish. So even if the keeper had gone the right way, I think it was straight down the middle, but it might have been just off centre.
Right.
But
Yeah.
because I'm not behind the goal, it looked like it was straight down the middle.
Yeah.
But if in the case if it wasn't straight down the middle, it was just off centre. It was a height that if the keeper had dived that way, he would have done well to get something to it because it wasn't that low. So yeah, Tividale 1-0 up, and I think that was on about 79 minutes around that mark. So then, with it being tight in the table the way it is in the table, and Tividale really wanting the win, we expected this is going to be a long 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't. It felt like 5. It did for me on the side. I doubt it felt like that for the players on the pitch, and I doubt it felt like that for Stu and the guys in the dugout. But there wasn't really much threat from Kazis still. They were pushing, don't get me wrong, but there wasn't really anything created.
Right.
And Tividale probably didn't really have any chances of note, just a couple of half chances maybe. But yeah, that's how it finished, 1-0 to Tividale. So finally.
Good, a win.
Yeah, but what that result did, Dudley Town also won, fortunately. So they'll still keep them 1 point behind us. They won away at Lichfield, who were sitting second. So that was a bit of a shock.
Right.
Sorry, no, they beat Lichfield at home, at Dudley, sorry. But what that actually done now, instead of going in before the weekend, before the Atherstone game, you had Bewdley on 4 points, Dudley on 6, and us on 10. Then you had a gap of up to about 15 points, I think it was. So there was that little bit of a gap. I think everybody can say now that Bewdley probably are done and gone. But what it's done now, they've been making it a 3-horse race for relegation and the 2 teams.
Right.
It's dragged another 3 or 4 teams into it for that last relegation spot. So you've got Dudley are now on 12 points. Yeah, we're on 13. Then I think next is Northwich, either on 15 or 16.
Okay.
And you've got
So it's timed it up a bit.
Yeah, so then you've also got Atherstone, Casuals, and Whitchurch, and I think there's about 7. I think they're on the max. They're on is 17. So there's now about 5 points from the last relegation up to about 12. So it's brought a few into it. So it's trying to split up, makes it a bit more interesting. Those fans are a bit like, oh shit, we're now in a relegation fight. We're like, yes, there's more teams in a relegation fight. But as I said the other week, it's welcomed, because when we watched Dudley the other week, I said on here, and I was like, if Dudley keep playing the way they are, they will not be in our bottom 2 for long.
Yeah.
Although they're still in that bottom two, then they're only 1 point away from being out of it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So
Excellent.
yeah. So it's a
Okay.
good end to the year. Although we've still got games on Saturday, so that could still ruin our new year. But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what's this about referees? Referee what? Okay.
So, as you know from when I used to write my blog, I used to assess the referee's performance. Not like every little decision of all that throwing came off his big toe, so we should have given it the other way on like that. But the big decisions in a game,
Mm-hmm.
and as you've known from my blog in the past, and if anyone who listens has read it, which I know there's a couple who potentially do listen and potentially read it, if I don't see it, I don't see it.
Yeah.
So I'll say there was this decision, blah blah blah. From where I was, I couldn't see it, so I can't comment.
Yeah.
But I'm also very level-headed with it, like I've said in the past. From where I was, it's clear and it's obvious, but I'm 2 yards away, whereas the referee's position, I can see he's got 3 or 4 players standing in front of him,
Yeah.
and he's 20 yards away. So I
Yeah.
do try and look at it from
This is
both.
an objective view on referees' performance, and basically nothing about ref bashing at all. This is about what we've
Yeah.
seen, what we feel on an objective basis, taking into account their point of view as well. Yeah.
Yep. And before we go into it, because a lot of these decisions went against Tividale, especially in the Atherstone game, but this referee was being... He wasn't being assessed. They have mentors now, don't they?
Mm.
So, although there's an assessor at every game, they aren't officially being assessed every game. They have, for referees who want to progress up the levels, they have a mentor, and they'll give them feedback after the game. So, at the Atherstone game, I actually spoke to because he's known to Tividale. He used to do a lot for Tividale in previous years.
Mm-hmm.
I actually spoke to him at half time, and he actually agreed with my assessment of all but one of the decisions in the first half.
Right.
But the difference of the opinion is due to where we were located in the ground.
Right.
Which is why I say sometimes you have to look at it from that position.
Yeah.
But the referee was in a very similar position to me, so I'm still adamant that he was wrong.
Fair enough.
So yeah, the first one, as I say, Atherstone went 1-0 up pretty early. No complaints there. Probably about 5 minutes into the game, Tividale get the ball out wide on the left with Tyler Townsend, causing their right back all kinds of issues. Gets into the box, cuts inside, about to release a shot. Now, this is one I actually said to the assessor, I'm not sure, purely because the referee was blocking my view
Right.
from where he was stood. But it sounded like there was contact.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, if I was the referee in a position I was standing, I would be looking to my assistant for advice.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but being the referee and being that close, this is my words to the mentor were, I would like to assume and would like to think with where he was, that player was 100% won the ball.
Right.
Anyway, we'll come back to it in a second. And he went, okay. Nothing was given. Wide play on. Atherstone tried to clear the ball. It doesn't get cleared. Comes back out wide to Jack Till on the right. He goes down inside the box. Referee gives a free kick, yellow card for diving.
Oh, right.
100% right. 100% all day. As soon as he went down, I turned to Steve. I was standing next to him. I said, "That's a dive."
Uh-huh. Good.
So
Well done,
yeah,
Ref.
100% he got that right. But let's rewind about 5 seconds. According to the mentor, he was going to be asking the referee why he didn't award a penalty. She said every box was ticked
Right.
for a penalty there. I don't know why he didn't award it. We didn't manage to catch up afterwards. But he said it looked out of control. It was potentially borderline being over the ball, and there was a scissor in action. He was like,
Yeah.
it was if he'd given it, he'd got a decision to make as whether the player would be staying on the pitch or not.
Right.
So that's a major one, at which point the game is only 1-0.
Yeah.
So as much as this ref support goes on Twitter, well, what about these players missing these chances, blah, 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 it makes no outcome on the game if the referee makes one mistake.
No.
When the scoreline's 1-0 and there's potentially it could have been 1-1, there is, yeah. If that had happened when it was 3-0 or 3-1, then yeah, fair enough, it probably doesn't affect the game, but at that point it does.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's a potential that it should have been potentially sent off as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll leave the one with a major difference of opinion between myself and the assessor for a moment. But again, just before half time, Taylor again cut inside the box. It might have been Snape actually. It might have been Ryan Snape actually. I don't know. Either way, whichever way it was, cuts inside the box, gets inside. Just as he's about to hit his shot, he's trying to bend one into the far corner. He just gets a nudge, and when I say a nudge, it's not a nudge; it's a push. The arm comes out fully extend to knock it, and it knocks him off balance. So obviously, he misses his shot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, playing defensive positions my entire life, I would say it's soft and it's harsh, but it's a foul because it's affected.
Yeah.
And it's not a subtle push; it's a clear push. It's not subtle. You can't argue it's shoulder to shoulder or strength. It's a clear push.
Right.
I spoke to the mentor about it. Again, we're looking up side onto it so we can see it. So I can understand why the referee's potentially not seeing it. But again, it's the assistant is looking straight across at it. So probably one where he needed a bit of help from his assistant. So not being overly critical of the referee in its situation, probably more, as I said, the assistant. Because the mentor said to us, well, what do you mean? I said, that shot that he hit, because it was right on half time, it was literally the last thing of the half. He went, yeah, because he's off balance. I went, he wasn't off balance. I said, he's off balance because he's been shoved. You know what do you mean? So literally, we practically reenacted it for him.
Right.
I was like, it wasn't a bent arm and a bit of a, like I say, a bit of a leaning in. It was my arm's bent. I'm going to fully extend it while I'm going to push you away from the ball. And he went, okay, yeah, that's a foul. But as I said, same thing I said to you guys, to the mentor, I said, but to me there, the assistant should be helping him out, and he went 100%. He did, because where he was more of a similar angle to what the referee would have had. Because where it looks like he's just not on balance.
Yeah.
Then, the contentious one, which we didn't agree on. This one was definitely Taylor. Again, he's cut on the left, cut into the box, about to shoot, and he's brought down from behind. Players come through the back of him. Now the referee has waved it away and signalled that he's won the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't won the ball. What's happened is Taylor's dragged it back as he's gone through him. So it looks like he's gone through the ball. It looks like he's won the ball. Again, from the referee's position, potentially.
Yeah.
But his position, again, whereas we were side on, he was front on. So it's... But whereas with the push, you can kind of see, yeah, he looks like he's off balance. With that, I don't see... And again, you can hear the contact.
Yeah.
Because of the way it's gone, Taylor was literally about to shoot. The only way you would say the player has won the ball there is you would hear the contact with the ball.
Yeah.
Because you've watched it enough, you can hear it when somebody kicks the ball and it's blocked at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But this wasn't, it was boot on shin pad. And there's a distinctive sound of it's like a pencil snapping, is the way I do it. It's the way I describe it when a boot is a shin pad. And that's the sound that was there. Right. And that's what I said. But the mentor was like, no, it was a great challenge. I was like, it wasn't. And that's the way I describe it to the mentor. And he kind of, you see him think about it for a second, and he just went, no, that was a great challenge. I'm like,
oh well.
Yeah,
some you win, some you lose.
Yeah, so you can see you put that seed of doubt into the mentor's mind of, you know what? The sound was off, but
Yeah.
it still looked like a good tackle. I thought, yeah, but that's sometimes where you've got to use your ears as well as your eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, my
um,
referees in my last couple of games have been very, very good. You've hardly known they were there.
yeah,
Which I think, for me, I mean, I've never played the game, so I don't know it from a player's point of view type of thing.
yeah,
But from standing on the sidelines, if you don't notice the referee and the
yeah,
game seems to be going well without really even knowing the referee's on the pitch, then they must be doing a good job. Because
yeah,
yeah, so that's what
yeah,
I think. I mean, I will say what I will say is there are occasions when I think the linesperson, or whatever you call them, well,
yeah,
assistant referee, that's the proper
yeah,
term,
that's the
isn't it?
one.
Them
Yeah,
guys, the ones up and down the lines,
yeah,
I think there are times when they are very, very reluctant to aid the referee in decision making.
100%.
Now, whether that's because they're so close to the crowd,
Hmm.
when the referee's in the middle of the pitch a long way away and they've got to run the line literally a couple of feet from the fans in a lot of cases in non-league. Whether
Yeah,
that's part of it, I don't know. But they do seem to be some sort of reluctance in the assistants giving assistance to the referee.
yeah, but then I would counteract that argument with if they can't take the pressure from the crowd 2 feet away, they shouldn't be there.
There is that as well. Yeah, absolutely. Agreed. Yeah.
Um, like I say, it's different. I was doing it on Sunday mornings. You've seen me do it on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
It's different, but I would argue it's more dangerous on a Sunday morning.
I would think so. Yeah.
Purely because you're not impartial when you're running the line on a Sunday morning. It is your team that your defence that you're doing
Yeah.
the line for.
Yeah.
Um, Now those assistants are impartial. That's the whole reason they're there.
Yeah.
So they can assist. Like I said, we've had this conversation in the past Sunday mornings. Um, your assistant on a Sunday morning is quite often just there to give offsides and throw-ins
Yeah.
and goal kicks and corners. Can't get involved in anything else.
Hmm.
Whereas on a Saturday, they have the power to make as many decisions as the referee does.
Yeah.
Even to the extent of yellows and red cards. If the referee hasn't seen it, he's going to go to him and the assistant's seen it and say, right, what have you seen?
Yeah.
Right, so the number 7 of this team has hit number 8 of that team in the nuts. It's a red card.
Yeah.
And the referee's going to take his advice. Now, if I did that on a Saturday and said, right, their number 6 has kicked our number 8 in the nuts, he's going to say, well, you're going to say that. What's the number
Yeah.
8 done to that number 6 in the first place?
Mm. Yeah. Gotcha. Understood. So
So,
anyway.
but I do understand what you're saying. It is offside, and I've been to some places where they have taken some stick. But if you don't want it, don't do it.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I mean, there should be more respect for the officials, generally speaking. I think from the players, especially. I mean, I don't think at levels 5 and 6 the sin bin is used anywhere near as much as it should be for dissent.
Oh,
Um,
100% not. 100%, definitely not.
that's a different conversation altogether, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But the referee Saturday, he wasn't the greatest, in all honesty.
Mhm.
He's not the worst I've seen. It's the first time I've ever seen him. It might have just been an off day for him.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll go somewhere down the middle and say 5, 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yesterday's referee, a bit better. Don't think he really got any major decisions wrong that I saw.
He can have a 7 then.
Yeah, the penalty was soft.
Mm.
It was one of those where they were both backpedaling. He's kind of leaning into the defender. The defender's arms have gone on his shoulders a little bit,
Mhm.
and he's gone down. But also the defender's moving backwards, so as he just fell over. It's soft as a defender. You'd argue it all day. As a forward,
Yeah.
you're going to be like, nah, it's definitely a foul. Um,
Yeah.
the only thing yesterday with the referee, the major thing was consistency. So, like I say, a 7 out of 10 at best. He was giving little things, stupid things that weren't really fouls, and then 2 minutes later the same things happened and he weren't giving it. So it's just like, if you're going to give it, keep giving it. If you're not going to give it, don't just give one every now and again.
Yeah. Well, I'd give the referee for my match on Saturday probably a 7.5 to an 8. I think the only thing that was possibly contentious was the first penalty where it was a dive. But like I
Yeah,
said in the match report, from where he was,
yeah.
I can see why he gave it. So, yeah,
Oh yeah, 100%. And like when I saw it at full speed, again,
yeah,
I don't know if it's because potentially I've played the game, and like you say, you haven't.
yeah,
Um, as I watched it at full speed, I was like, that looked like a dive. And then Darren obviously did the courtesy of slowing it down for us.
yeah,
And it's like, yeah, that's a dive. But
yeah.
Darren was at the side looking directly at it,
Mm,
whereas again, the referee's looking at it front on, and he
yeah,
probably had a body or two in front of him.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, you can understand, like, as you say, you can understand why he's giving it.
Well, we shall
Yeah.
give match referee reviews on a weekly basis with our match reports, and we'll do our match reports with a ref watch at
Yeah.
the end of the match report then. Anyway, shall we get to the big point for the week?
Yep.
End of year reviews, 2023.
Yep.
So we're starting from January through to December, so across the 2 seasons.
Yep.
First one, shall we do it each point and then say what each of us have got, and then
Yep.
rather than one of us talking for a long time and the other, we'll just interact on this one.
Yep.
So first up, how many games?
69.
69.
Yeah.
Whoa, I got 47.
Yeah.
But I will
51.
caveat 47
Yeah.
because between the 7th of January and the 1st of April, I didn't go to anywhere because I was sat at home with a busted elbow and couldn't
That's
drive
Albert.
anywhere.
Yeah.
So I missed a good 10 weeks of football there where I just couldn't get to games. So anyway, 47. I will say, though, 5 of those matches don't qualify as non-league.
You went to a couple of Premier League and
Well,
Football
I
League,
went
didn't
to one international, one championship,
you? Yeah.
2 League One, and one UEFA Women's Champions League. So,
Yeah. I have to
how many
be
goals?
just 1 second on my games. 51
Oh,
of
yeah,
those
go
were
on.
51 were with Tividale. There was
Yeah.
only 18 that weren't with Tividale.
Ah, right.
And,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
out of those 18, probably 7 of those are Sunday League as well. So it's whether you want to count those or not.
Yeah, you can count them. Yeah. Count them
Yeah.
in. Absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
in terms of games, I covered 15 different league competitions, one playoff final,
Mhm.
and 5 cups.
Huh? So cups, I probably did about the same cups, 5 or 6 cups.
Yeah, I've got the
Um,
FA Cup, the FA Vase, the FA Trophy, the Hertfordshire Senior Cup, and the Phoenix Trophy from the other week. So,
yeah, so I've got the FA Cup, FA Vars, haven't got the trophy. JW Hunt Cup, Birmingham Senior Cup, Walsall Senior Cup, Midland League Cup.
yeah,
Then I've got loads of charity finals for the Sunday League. There's about 4 of those.
yeah,
And then in terms of leagues, I've got the Midland Football League, obviously, Northern
yeah.
Premier League, and then the Whalley Sunday League.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so number of goals
259.
161. So, what's your goals per game average?
3.75.
A minus 3.43. So, we're actually pretty close on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Any idea how many grounds stroke new grounds you went to this year?
New grounds, I did 22.
Yeah.
Don't know the number of the grounds. I didn't make a note of that.
Okay. I did 41 grounds, 31 of them were new. So,
I did
that would
22
be,
new. I would imagine I would do around about 28 or 30
yeah.
in total.
Hmm. Okay. Biggest number of goals, stroke highest score.
So I had a joint one.
Yeah.
The score was 4-3, and they were both
Mm.
fairly late in the year. The first one was against Romulus. Romulus won 4-3 in August,
Hmm.
and then Tividale beat Coleshill 4-3 in October.
Right. Okay. Well, I've got one with 8 goals, which,
Yeah,
funnily enough, was this Saturday just gone, the 4-4 between Buckingham and Winslow. But
yeah,
I've also got a 7-0, which
yeah.
counts as the biggest win. That was Amersham against the old Northamptonian Chenecks in the FA Vars. So, yeah, 7-0 to Amersham. So those count on that.
So my biggest win then would be a joint again,
Hmm.
6-0, and that
Hmm.
was uh, Lyme beating Tividale 6-0 in February, and Corby beating Calcer 6-0 in September.
Live actually feature as my next biggest win at 6-1 when they won the playoff final last season, 6-1 away
Yes,
at
I
St
forgot you went
Neots.
to that. I forgot
Yeah.
you went to that, yeah.
Okay, in terms of those are the highest goals, I mean, this season marked a big landmark for me on the when was it? Yeah, the 19th of August, I went to Great Yarmouth
Yeah.
against Leiston Reserves, and the result was 0-0. That was my first 0-0 for 175 games, stretching back to 2017.
Wow.
It was closely followed 4 games later by another 0-0,
Yeah.
and then I only lasted another 16 before I got third 0-0. So I've had 3 0-0s this season after 6 years of none. So,
Wow. So, actually, I thought I'd have more nil-nils than you. I've only got the 2.
have you only got 2?
Yeah.
Nice.
So, we had
I've got 3. Mm.
and I think I was about 80 something games. So not obviously as far as you, but I've got to about 80 odd games without a nil-nil before that.
Yeah, yeah.
So the run was broken on the 1st of April when we drew 0-0. I was happy about it at the time, but looking back on it now, I'm pissed off because Stourport missed a penalty in stoppage time. At the
Yeah,
time, it was wonderful because we needed the points, but it wouldn't
yeah,
have mattered in the end because we got enough points anyway. So I'm pissed off they didn't score it.
yeah.
And then opening day of the league season this year on the 12th of August, which it would have been the same result this Saturday, we drew 0-0 with Atherstone.
Mm. Yeah, there were other 0-0s. Apart from that one, we had Ashford Town, that's Ashford Middlesex against Southall, that was 0-0. And the
Yeah,
most recent 0-0 was at the end of November in the National League South, Hemel Hempstead against Bath. That was 0-0. That was a good match, even though it was a 0-0, that one.
yeah,
In fact, I think that might have featured on one of our early episodes.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah, okay. Next one. What's the next question? Best goal.
I've gone for a goal that wasn't necessarily a good finish. Well, it was a good finish, but a worldie.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I've gone for this goal is for the reason of what it meant at the time. So as I stated earlier, we played Wolverhampton Casuals towards, I think it was Easter Monday last year.
Mm-hmm.
Given the situation, what had gone on with the chairman, I won't get into it because it's a long story. Um, but essentially, as I said earlier, this is a game that we had to win.
Yeah.
But we didn't. We didn't have to win it because we'd secured survival the game before at Utah,
Yeah.
but we still had to win it.
Yeah.
So we went in this game. We went 1-0 up. We conceded the penalties before half time to go 1-1. Stayed that way till the 94th minute. When I don't know if it was a throw in or a corner. We had something. It came out it was clear to the edge of the box, and up stepped young Jack Fletcher, who hit it on the half volley, and it flew into the bottom corner to put us 2-1 up.
All right.
And when I say the whole place erupted, the whole place erupted.
Excellent.
Except for this one little corner where the
Mm-hmm.
Wolverhampton Casuals fans and associates were, including the Tividale chairman, because his son played for Wolverhampton Casuals.
Mm. Excellent.
Fletch being Fletch ran straight over to that corner, took his shirt off, swinging it round his head. Couldn't find the chairman, so his shirt ended up on the floor. But Jamie Oliver, the youth team manager, who was playing for the first team that day, spotted the chairman, so picked his shirt up and threw it at the chairman. Yeah, so that for just for what it meant to the club,
Mm-hmm.
I've gone for that as being the best goal of the season, best goal of
Fair
the year.
enough.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So my best goal is it's got to be again. It's the most recent match this Saturday. That world class volley from the edge of the area. It was
yeah,
absolutely mental goal. It's not what you expect at this level at all, but it was
yeah,
absolutely brilliant. So that is my.
yeah,
The other thing is, I mean, I go to a lot of matches as a neutral. So in terms of meaning anything, to me personally, they mean
yeah,
very little. They're just good goals, and that was a very, very, very good goal. So that was one of
yeah,
the other things you said. Look, at best moment. Well, I haven't really got a best moment. I'm not even going to name a best moment because like I say, most of the matches I go to mean nothing
Yeah,
to me personally. So in terms of moments, there aren't anything really. One thing I will mention is a game I didn't go to, but I heard about, and I thought that was a really good one. Was when Hitchin's goalkeeper Charlie Horlock
yeah,
scored a goal from his own area by booting out of the pitch away at Hales Owen and bounced over
yeah,
the keeper the other end into the goal. So that was a pretty
yeah.
special moment for him, certainly, and for the
That
and for
was
the fans that were there.
that was annoying for me because I was this close to going to that game, but it was that
Yeah,
day.
I know.
It was that day with Corby played line. It was absolutely hammering it down. I was like, "There's no way this game is going to start." They're saying it's on there, but there's no way it's going to get to 3 o'clock and still be on. So we went for the 4G, and we're like, "It's on." Whoops! Should have
Yeah,
gone to Hal Ruin.
yeah,
But yeah, best moment you mentioned there, like I say. Difficult as you say because you're neutral. Obviously, everybody knows I'm clearly not a neutral. I
yeah,
am occasionally when Tividale don't play. um, but although we lost it, the final at Molyneux, just for what the club had been through last season,
hmm
to have that day, it was Dave King's last game for Tividale as well as manager after 7 years.
yeah,
So there was that, and just for what the club had been through that season, to just have that one bit at the end where to play on the Premier League pitch.
yeah,
Like I say, I've been there before. It was part of Wolves when I was younger, so I've been there many times. Been there in pitch level a few times, but doing it with Tividale is just that little bit different.
yeah,
Um, and just little stupid things like when I was coaching, what I'd always do is my warm up to get my kicking going is I'd just outside of the box, edge of the box, I'd do basically lamp the ball at the crossbar.
yeah,
And obviously, usually I do that in front of two men and his dog at
hmm
Tividale or wherever we're playing.
yeah,
um, but it's quite interesting because obviously people who start filling in while we're waiting for Lewis and Pete and Roman to come out to do the warm up. And there's a bit more than just one man and his dog there. And
yeah,
obviously they're looking for something to watch, so they end up watching you doing the crossbar challenge, and it's quite funny to
yeah.
hear people go, "Hey!" when you hit it. So
Mm.
yeah, rather than people trying to work out, is he actually trying to hit the crossbar or not? uh, but yeah, like I say, although we lost the game, it was just to get that at the end of the season and for it to be Dave's last game as well. It was just, yeah, something, something special to be a part of and something I'll probably always remember as well.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah,
I was just looking
yeah,
around at odd name stadiums I've been to. So I
yeah,
haven't been to Pancake Lane this year, unfortunately. Pancake Lane is Leverstock Green in Hemel Hempstead. I haven't been there this
yeah,
year, but two ones I have been to. So the week before last was the Dog and Duck Ground in Wellingborough. I thought that was a nice
yeah.
name. And a bit further back this season, Fleet Town, their ground is called the Mustard Seed Stadium. So that's another interesting one.
You do get
So,
someone. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, actually, I said to you earlier there was only one. There's two.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so the one which I said to you earlier was Sheepy Road.
Sheepy Road, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which is actually funny enough where it was Saturday with Atherstone, and it's called that purely because that's the name of the road it's on.
Ah, right.
um,
Nothing
but
to
the
do
other
with
one,
sheep then. No,
no, no, no. Like you said to me on Saturdays, there are a lot of Welsh people standing around shouting in the field. No,
no, no, not that one. No,
no.
clearly. And the
Um,
other one?
it sounds funny. It's not. It's because it's the name of the company that's down the road. But the U Lockett Stadium, and that was Witton Albion where Norwich played. Purely because they're sponsored by the company U Lockett down the road, and I'm not sure if it's a storage place or they make padlocks, but it's something
Right.
along those lines. So yeah,
Excellent.
that's
Hmm.
that.
Well,
Um,
we've had a good year, I think. Anything else we need to put onto our list of things to mention from the year?
so I've got a few more than you, obviously,
Yeah,
because obviously again meaning more things. So we've gone total games goals. See what we've gone through. Um, I got best game.
yeah,
So I've got two. The one for me overriding without a doubt is that win against Wolverhampton Casuals.
yeah,
But then I've also looked at it neutral for a game where Tividale didn't play.
hmm,
and that was the Darlaston Town and Dudley Town game the other week, which I reported on, which finished 3-2
Mm-hmm.
to Darlaston. I thought that was a very good game to watch. Again, another day where Tividale had been called off because of the weather.
Yeah.
Not the best conditions, but it was two teams going at it and put on a good show. So I thought those were two good games.
Yeah.
Worst game. I've done this from a feeling that how we felt after the game,
Right.
not necessarily the time in worst game of football.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a mixture of 5 here. I won't go into depth with them, obviously.
Yeah.
The first one was on the 11th of February. We played Whitchurch Old Port at home. We lost 1-0 in the 96th minute.
Ouch.
No.
Yeah, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, people think, 96 minute loss, that's why it hurt. It didn't hurt. It hurt because of what happened earlier on in the season at Whitchurch with Lewis and really being on the end of some racial abuse, and then the way the club reacted to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that hurt a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into the whole racist thing. That's as far as that's concerned. It's behind us, and yeah. Then we've got just a couple of weeks later, on the 25th of February, we went to Lytown and lost 6-0.
Ouch. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was probably our local derby last season. And to go there and just, the performance wasn't great, and to be on the end of a 6-0 loss and being in the dugout with people banging the dugout, because I don't know if you remember the light dugout, it comes into the stand a bit. Yeah. So people are banging the side of the dugout, just move, go away. And I was sat on the end as well, so it's clear, and people are literally hearing my face, and I was like, it's hard not to react in that situation, but you just have to not react.
Yeah.
Then the last league game last season, Darlaston away on the 22nd of April, 4-1. We'd been on a brilliant run in the league. I don't think we'd lost for 7 or 8 games, which ultimately kept us up.
Mm-hmm.
So, last game of the season, league. Obviously, we had the final and the semi-final to come still. But league game of the season, we thought, you know what? Let's go out and make it 9 or 10 unbeaten, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Just didn't turn up. Lost 4-1.
Yeah.
And the thing that, like I said, that hurt the most about that is the fact that you've just gone on this amazing run. Yeah, okay, it had to come to an end at some point. But it's come to an end without any fight.
Yeah.
And like I say, I think that hurts because, like I say, I was on the coaching staff last season, and I think it hurts more when that happens when you're in the coaching staff than it does when you're in the stands.
Yeah.
Because you start then looking as, well, could we have done anything differently preparing for that game?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we move into this season. Highgate on the 4th of October was another 4-1 loss. And that's one of those where they didn't turn up, and I was looking at it from a fan's point of view. I'm like, what's all this for? You pay your money. And that's the performance they give.
Yeah.
It's times where if you weren't so invested in the club, you could easily walk away from it and say, I'm not doing this anymore. And then Saturday, Atherstone, that is probably the worst performance since Highgate. So it was very much the same feeling, and it just made it worse because it was 2 days before Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. I've got a worse game here. No, and I suppose one of the ones. Okay, yes, I found one. There was one I actually left before the end. It doesn't happen very often with me. And I only left 5 minutes before the end. Spartan South Midlands Division 1, Cranfield United against Atherstone Town. I mean, it's been 3-1 to Cranfield, but it was marred by the behaviour of the players and the staff of both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, the one side ended up with 9 men and the other with 10. There was yellow cards flying all over the place. There was bad tackles. There was abuse of the officials. It was just absolutely awful. And it wasn't that I wasn't enjoying I wasn't enjoying the football at the end of it because there wasn't much football. It was just hacking the hell out of each other. The only saving grace about that place was they had the best kebab van and hot chili sauce I've been doing for a long time. But other than that, there was nothing to keep me at the game, and I did leave that one early because I wasn't there to watch a wrestling match and a boxing match and a load of
Yeah,
people shouting abuse at each other.
yeah,
I went to watch a football game, and when you've got the referee, I mean, the officials didn't do the greatest job in controlling the game either. It has to be said, but even so, when you've got yellow cards and red cards and 3 people sent off, and it was just awful. So that's my worst game.
yeah.
Yeah.
What else did I have? So I've got a best ground section, of which there are 3.
Oh yeah.
Number 1, not a non-league ground, but we played there, so I'm counting it. Molyneux.
Yeah.
As I say, just you can't beat the feeling of walking out to a Premier League pitch with your local club.
Mhm.
And like I say, that added extra of actually being able to walk out on the pitch with them.
Yeah.
Because I've been looking at me on the staff.
Mhm.
Probably not as special sitting in the stands. So again, privileged to be there and do that.
Yeah.
Pops up again, Sheepy Road.
Mhm.
Proper old fashioned ground. I sent you the picture of the toilet. It was just a bit of the wall painted black.
Yeah.
Pee here.
That's it.
The black bit saying, please don't pee higher than this bit. We know what you men are like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, Atherstone going back 20, 25, 30 years were playing pretty high up the pyramid.
Mhm.
I think they were step 3, they're potentially step 2.
Right.
So yeah, main stand running down one side, a smaller stand on the other side, but it was more terraced rather than seating, whereas the main one's seating.
Mhm.
Cover completely on one side, covered up probably about 50-60% of the other side, and then your two ends were just your 2 ends. But there was an actual boardroom, which is rare. No, step 5.
That's it. Well,
Yeah,
2 that
and
were good. Did you add a third one, or have you done
yes,
them all? Yeah.
final one, which I've got down as Wincham Park, but it is actually the Lockett Stadium,
Uh-huh.
where Northwich were playing. It's Witton Albion's ground, but Northwich were ground sharing with them.
Right.
Again, one main stand with seating. Both ends are pretty much fully covered. The other side is fully covered but terraced. But
Yeah.
obviously Witton is step 4. So it's a bit more of a professional setup than step 5 because things start getting a bit more serious at step 4. The one thing that they have this little boardroom, and it's like stepping back into the 80s.
Uh-huh.
All the walls are panelled, and it's the carpet. I can't describe it. The best way I can describe it is no one else is going to know what I'm talking about, but it reminds me of my nan's carpet on the stairs. There's sofas in there which are probably older than me. It's like stepping into a time machine. But yeah,
Well, I've got
it's
2 good
brilliant.
ones. So
Yeah,
my 2 good ones were Great Yarmouth. The reason for Great Yarmouth is they've got the oldest wooden stand still in use in football
yeah,
in the UK. It was built in 1897. It's a gorgeous stand,
yeah,
a beautiful place, and I mean the ground has got a running track around it as well, which doesn't help because you're a bit away from the
yeah,
actual action. But in terms of the stand, it's absolutely gorgeous and well worth a visit. And the other one was more recently Enfield Town, where they've got
yes,
the listed building in Art Deco style in the shape of a boat, a river boat.
yeah.
So yeah, you've got it's just beautiful ground. So look at some pictures of Enfield Town and see their clubhouse come stand type thing. It's really nice. So those are the 2 best grounds I've been to. So,
Cool. What else have I got written down? So we've done that. We've done that. We've done that. We've done that. Done that. We've done that. Done that. Done that. Oh, makes sense. Worst grounds.
oh right, okay, worst grounds. Let me just go through them. Right,
Yeah,
okay. Have you got a worst? Go for it.
I've got 4.
How
Um,
can you have 4 worst grounds?
because just I'll explain. One of
Go
them,
on.
you'll be like, what? The first one, which I've written down, is Molyneux.
Oh yeah, but you just had
Purely
that as
because
one of the best grounds.
purely because I'm an Albion fan, so it's got to be on that list, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Then my next one is Kings Park, which is in Mere Heath, which is where Stone Old Alinians play.
Hmm.
Now, it's a shithole. There's no way about it. But I don't mean this way to slag off the club because Stone have only recently purchased it within the last couple of years. They are working on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I didn't go this season. Both times I went, it was last season, and it was their first season there.
Mhm.
And speaking to the people who went this season, they said it has improved slightly. It's still not the best, but it has improved slightly. So they are still working on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the the changing rooms. You walk off the pitch into the door, through the showers, into the away dressing room. And if somebody walks out the changing rooms and walks away, leaves the doors open, you're fully exposed to the outside world if you're having a shower.
Oh, lovely.
So yeah. So there's that. In the dressing room, the away dressing room, I don't know if anybody from Stowe has looked in there, but in the far end, there's a whiteboard on the wall. But the bench you can lift up, and in there's an old floodlight, a couple of old floodlights, some old records. And I was like, some of these will be worth some money, but I'm not touching them, and I'm not telling anyone they're there. They should already know they're there. There's some old Elton John records and that in there. I was like, yeah, whatever floats your boat. Um, but yeah, like I say, he's getting. From what I hear, it's getting better.
Right.
Um, and like I say, it's a new ground to them, so they're going to have to take time. I don't think it was used for a long time before they took it on, so it's going to take some work.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, how many did you say that? I said 4, so it's only 3. Apologies.
Okay, good.
And I've actually got the beaches in there, which is Tividale. Now,
Yeah, I knew you'd put that one in there.
yeah, the reason I say it is because it's been neglected somewhat. I won't go into the politics of what's going on at the club, but it's not how things have always been at the club, and so the actual ground itself has been neglected. It's a good little ground if it's looked after, but unfortunately, it's not being looked after properly at the minute.
Right.
So it is up there at the minute. Although some teams come here and think, "Oh, these facilities are good." Yeah, the facilities are good, but just look around. It's not what it's nowhere near where it should be.
Mm.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that's on the list. Yeah. Any for you?
Well, I'm only going to list one.
Yeah.
And it's nothing wrong with the ground itself.
Yeah.
It's just my experience there. Hellenic League Division 2. So we're at step 7 here. Mortimer
Yeah.
FC, the Alfred Palmer Memorial Field.
Yeah.
Okay, nice little clubhouse, nice little pitch, and car park along one side of the pitch.
Mhm.
And somebody managed to smack the ball so flaming hard that it dented my left wing on the car. So they get a worse ground because of my stupid idiocy of actually parking in their car park rather than parking up the road out of the way. But
Yeah.
yeah, there are lots of grounds I've been to where the car park is alongside the pitch. I
Yeah.
no longer park in places such as that. I would rather
Yeah.
park up the street and walk in. So,
Yeah. I'm trying to think if
yes,
there's any in our league where I don't think there's any in our league, but we both went to the final at Sutton Coalfield,
yes, yeah,
where you park alongside and behind the ground,
yeah.
behind the goal. Sorry.
I mean, it's not too bad if it's behind the stand or something. The balls bounce over. They're not going to hit the card that hard. But this was literally just over from the touchline. So a ball smacked from just by the touchline into your car. It dented it. So
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
that I'm not bothered about the car, as we know,
Yeah.
it's an old banger. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And then I've got a best fans,
go on
of which I've got 1, 2, 3. I've actually got a top 5 for this.
then. Okay, good, because I haven't
Um,
got any best fans, worst fans. I haven't done best fans, worst fans because
yeah.
I haven't really paid attention to them.
No, I can see it from both sides of atmosphere and other things in a way that they are with the club.
Yeah.
So, Northwich, Victoria. With the history of Northwich, Victoria, I've got a lot of fans.
Hmm.
They are all very friendly, all very welcoming. You can have a laugh with them. It was great. We haven't had the pleasure of them at the PT yet this season. We should have, but it got postponed for the weather, I want to say. Probably more than likely. It could have been the Vars, but it's got postponed for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So that may change when they come down to Tividale, we don't know. But from our experience of them up at Northwich, they were very good.
Hmm.
Beardley Town. As I've said in the past, they've got no budget,
Hmm.
but their fans turn up, cheer them on.
Yeah.
They're getting hammered, absolutely hammered every week. I think the last 4 games have lost 5-0, 6-0, 5-0.
Oh, crikey. Yeah.
So they aren't just losing games. We beat them 4-0 in the cup not so long ago. They are getting absolutely slaughtered every week, but the
Yeah.
fans still turn up. There's not many of them, don't get me wrong, but those that are there, they're there. So, yeah, fair play to them. We then got Market Drayton. Now, Market Drayton were, again, another team which not so long ago were pretty high up the pyramid. They're now step 6 this season after getting relegated from our league last season. Market Drayton last year were the Buckingham of this year. Didn't really bring many with them to Tividale, but when we went to their place, they had this corner, which was full of, there were youngsters, let's just say, from start to finish, banging the drum, singing from start to finish.
Yeah.
They lost the game 3-2, but they were still singing from start to finish, having a bit of a banter with them during the game, but once the game is finished and whatnot, absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was banter and a bit of a mickey taking, but it stayed on the pitch.
Yeah. Good.
So that was good. Kidsgrove Athletic. This is actually one that did involve Tividale, but it wasn't actually Tividale playing. Lie at the start of the season, can't use their home ground in August because of the cricket season. It's also a cricket pitch. Got drawn at home in the preliminary round of the FA Cup. Like, issue. We can't play at home, so they rented Tividale's pitch for the game.
Yeah.
Kidsgrove, there was about 3 of them. There was more fans than that. There was more fans than 3, but there was about 3 of them that, again, did not stop singing from start to finish. And I had to laugh because they were pointing out all the points with the ground, all the problems with the ground. To the point of there is a pallet truck down the one end of the pitch. Don't know why it's there. It's still there now. No idea why it's there. But they were using it as a scooter and were scooting along the path at the back. Yeah, they were brilliant. And then my last ones on there are, funny enough, Lytown.
Yeah.
As much as they're our rivals, and like I say, while we were playing that game and losing 6-0, they're all banging the side of the dugout and giving you the 2 fingers and laughing at you and everything.
Yeah.
But again, as soon as you're off the pitch and we were in that clubhouse, they're all like, we've been there, we've done it. So it's just the way they were after that game.
Yeah.
They could easily have gone, rub your nose in it and all that kind of stuff, but they didn't. So I thought, yeah, fair play to you for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my best fans.
Excellent. I know I've got good best atmosphere I went to so far this year was the Enfield against Scold match in the Phoenix Cup. Now they were putting on a big event because it was against this Danish team, but it was a really, really good atmosphere, well organised, just very friendly game, and lots of noise again from the fans shouting all the way through. And another one deserve an honourable mention was when I went to Hereford against Brackley on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And they give the attendance at the end of whatever it was, around about 2,000, and with 16 fans joining us from Brackley. 16 people travelled from Brackley to Hereford for that match.
Yeah.
And they deserve a mention just for their staying power and doing that sort of distance on a Tuesday night.
On a Tuesday night, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then I've got 2 more points. So obviously, with best fans comes worst fans.
Go on then.
Now, I've got reasons for saying this, and we won't go too deep into it because it's going to take a lot of time. Touched on it briefly already, but top of that list for me is Whitchurch. Although the major incident happened in 2022, as I say, we played them at home in February of this year. The thing that disappoints me with that game, they were fine during the game, nothing went off. The game went off without a hitch. But it was a tense affair, in all honesty.
Yeah.
After the game, and this disappointed me with the club as well. Well, I won't say the club. It was the squad and the management. They all decided they weren't going to save their hospitality, and went to the 1 and 2 hours down the road, which isn't a problem. They told us, they made us aware.
Yeah.
But it just didn't. It wasn't good because it just wasn't. Again, not faulting the club, because the committee were brilliant on the day of the incident at Whitchurch. They were brilliant when they came to Tividale. I didn't go to Whitchurch away this year, unfortunately, because I was working. But speaking to people, the committee again were brilliant on the day up there.
Yeah.
The crowd behaved themselves at Whitchurch this year. There was a comment made when they went 2-1 up, because they went 2-1 up later. Well, should we just walk? Are they going to walk off the pitch now? That kind of thing. So there was that, but obviously that was just ignored. But yeah, I just felt it was a little bit naughty of them on that day that they decided they weren't going to stay, given the fact that in November, when the incident happened, Tividale to show their support to Whitchurch as a club, saying, we know it's not the club, it was an individual or a couple of individuals on the day. They had put over £600 behind their bar. So, yeah.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't really pick a bad team, because like I said, most of the time when I go to grounds, I'm going as a neutral, and I've not really noticed any real hassle among any fans anywhere. But then I'm not looking for it, so
but then away from that, overall that season, this year, sorry, I thought the worst fans I've seen are Worcester City. I compare them to the Villa fans in non-league. They live off what they've done in the past. Because again, going back 10, 15 years, Worcester City, I believe, wasn't the banner, it was a blue square, wasn't it? The conference and whatnot. They were blue square, north or south, whatever they would have been at the time. Had whatever they had go on, were placed into Step 5, which was Tividale's league. At home, they get 500 easily. What I found very poor was when I played Tividale, I think there was about 30 Worcester fans. So they don't travel well at all.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And from a club of their size, and we're massive, we should be up in Step 3 or Step 2. Well, support your club then.
Yeah. Yeah.
They play away from Worcester as well as they do in Worcester. If you want to be in Step 3 and Step 2 and you can't travel to Tividale, which is 30 mile away, you're going to travel to Blythe, which is 300 mile away.
I travelled to York for a game this year.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. You've been to York near ground, didn't
you? Yeah. That was back in January. So,
yeah. But the Worcester fans think they're entitled to be in Step 2 and Step 3, but they can't travel the 30 miles to Tividale.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. And then the final thing I got is funniest moment of the year.
Go on, then.
So, it was one of those, it wasn't initially funny until you realise the person's okay. But we were playing our semi-final of the JW Hunt Cup against Wensfield at Castlecroft, which is AFC Wolves ground, which I believe we sorted out a few years prior.
We did indeed,
in the same competition. So we're in the dugout on the far side. Armin, who was one of our players, was cut-tied, unfortunately. But he was there supporting the lads as he did the warm-up and whatnot as well.
Yeah.
And he's sitting on the fence next to the dugout. It's purely because there's not enough room. There's I think we had more coaches than we did substitutes. It was just, I think there was 8 or 9 of us on the coaching staff last year, so it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But he's sitting on the fence. The ball goes out of play behind this fence, but it's quite overgrown behind there. So he
Yeah.
jumps over the fence, swings round, and he's going to go and get the ball. It's not the one we're playing with, but obviously he took enough one on. But he swings over, he drops down, and then he's gone. And you've heard this almighty clatter and bang and crash, and you're all like, oh, shit, he's hurt himself. But he just pops back up, as if expecting no one to have seen him, but everybody obviously has heard the bang and he's looking directly at him, and he just walks off as if nothing's happened. And everyone's like, "You're right." He went, "Yeah, what's talking about?" So he's trying to act like nothing's happened.
Yeah.
But it's one of those. It doesn't sound that fun, but it's one of those when you're looking at it, because I was watched it happen. He was literally he was there, then he wasn't, then he was back, and he just looked at us going, "I'm walking."
Right.
But yeah, that was probably the funniest moment.
Yeah, I can't really think of one. I've been trying to think of a funny moment. I can't really think of anything at the moment. So, oh well, if I think of one, I'll bring it up next week. But
Yeah, it still doesn't beat Ratgate, does it?
no.
I don't think anything ever will.
So, are you going anywhere? Have you got any more game in before New Year?
Yes, Saturday, and it will 100% be on because it's on a 4G pitch. We are at Lichfield City away.
Ah, right, okay. I'm not going anywhere Saturday. I've got other plans on Saturday, but I will be going to a game on Monday, New Year's Day, somewhere. So
Okay.
I shall
So
have a
we've
look.
got one more game in 2023.
Yeah, so no,
That's it.
I'm done. I'm definitely done for 2023. But
Okay, so
2024 starts on the 1st of January. So,
of course it does. Same as every year.
Yeah. Funny that, yeah. Oh, where can I go? I'm just having a look. Sudbury, no. Telford, no. Alchurch, no. Kettering, no. Leamington, no. Leicester, no. Long Eaton, no. Stamford, no. Stafford, no. I'm not going to Southern League Premier Central.
Nope.
I might go. Done all them and all. Bloody hell. Don't go to Stockfold, that's wise. I don't know where I'm going on Monday. It'll be a surprise. You can find out next time we do record. So
Yeah.
Well, anyway, well.
Yeah.
Have a happy new year.
Yes, and yourself. Hopefully,
and to all our myriad of listeners. So
yeah. Actually, just on that, last week was our best week ever.
Was it?
Yeah. It's last week's episode hasn't got the most. I was going to say views, but it's not views. Listens, I suppose.
Yeah.
Hasn't got the most, but it's got the most at this point of any episode so far.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But it seems like that some people who listened to last week's have gone back and listened to previous ones as well, because I've noticed the numbers of others have creeped up.
Oh, excellent. Good.
So,
okay. Well, this is our longest one yet. We've just topped over an hour and a half. So we hope people have got staying power for this one.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, we did have 3 match reports as well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
It's about the length of a match.
Yeah, exactly. We'll wind this one up and we'll reconvene next week into 2024. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.